Hi and welcome to this week's market update, where of course we're going to be looking at all the trades that we've been doing over the last few weeks. Have we been right? Have we not been right? We've got some great updates for you. In terms of topics, we've got some real crackers for you. For example, what is happening with the presidential elections? I mean, they haven't even called it yet, and the stock market has gone crazy. So we're going to show you how you can take advantage of that. Also, the 3 reasons that why we are so bullish on gold right now. And obviously, when we're talking about gold, we're also talking about silver, platinum, some of the other precious metals. So we're going to be showing you some charts and also some companies that you might want to do your research on. We're already in some of them, and we might be getting in some more at better prices. Finally, if there really is a Biden win, although he's already been announced as president-elect, but if he really is going to be the next president, what do you need to do right now? So we're going to show you what Biden really does like and his administration stands for, and how you can prepare yourself to get in on that. So we have a great show for you, so let's get started. So with the magic of television, we've managed to get Dennis on here. So Dennis, let's talk about some of the charts we've been looking at over the last few weeks and see whether we've made money or not. The first one, I believe, is Ocado. I'm looking at it right now. So take us through this.
Absolutely, and it's a pleasure to be here, of course. And because it's locked down, obviously, we have we can be fortunate enough to be able to call in. So Ocado, it fell down 22% last time we spoke about it, and now if you look at today's chart,
so that was a good entry point, right?
Oh. It was a great entry point. So not only was it down a good amount, because we never want to enter at the high, but it also was at a support level. So a level where buyers have come back in the past.
I remember. So I think at the time we said that was kind of and I couldn't remember the word, it was a confluence of 2 different strategies, the Buffalo and the value cost averaging strategy. Yeah, so it was a good time to get in. And what happened from that point then? I think you just showed it. So it went up 17%. Now, we normally look to, because this is investing, unless you were trading it, in which case you would have had a stop loss just below. If you're investing in it, then we would have just gotten in without a stop loss, and at around the 15% mark, all of our students will know that at around the 15% mark, for the very first time, we would put a stop loss right underneath. So, but if you did that, then I don't think, because you look at that big fall there afterwards, I don't think you would have gotten more than what, 12%, 13%?
Yeah, 12%. We got around 12% on this. And the big drop we're going to speak about, that's pretty good in a week. Very happy about that. But what a lot of people do, right? I think that they look at this and then they look 2-3 weeks later, and all of a sudden they're in a loss. So I think the benefit is to look, once every day, just a few minutes to see what is happening. So a lot of people say that
20 minutes a day. It doesn't matter when, whether it's in the morning, afternoon, evening, nighttime. The market doesn't have to be open. Yeah. But it is about looking at it. As Dennis says, he's totally right. People generally just look at it once, every 6 months, every 3 months or so. Well, you would have been up, 17%. Now you're down 25%. Next you're up 15% again, down 30%. So much money to be made if you just spend a little bit of time and care on your investments. 20 minutes a day. If you can't do 20 minutes a day, do 20 minutes every other day, but at least 20 minutes a week, So on this one here then, I think that's a great point, Dennis, that people really need to be looking at a little bit more. Okay, so now from that height though, it's down 25%. Now it's broken below, so therefore we won't be trading this, but this looks, Dennis, like it could be a good investment right now.
Absolutely. So what I'm going to be waiting for now, I'm going to look, because it's falling quite dramatically. So I'm going to wait until I see a little bit of support. Again, which I do see a little bit.
Are you waiting for some bounces for a support, or are you just going to be waiting for some kind of a green candle to denote that the bulls are back?
Yeah, some kind of a green candle, and I think around the 2000 level, which we have over here, the 2000 level, I think there are some good support there. So that's probably going to be my first entry. So I'm going to wait for a green candle.
So this is a UK stock, right? So if it's 2000, that's £20, right? So 2,000 pence. Okay, cool. Correct. Very, very good. All right, let's see how that plays out then. So you're not going to get in right now, even though it is down 25%. Really, we should have gotten in by now. But you're kind of using your experience there a little bit to say, yeah, but if it falls a little bit more, etc. Okay, I get that. All right, let's see. But otherwise, we would have already been in 5% ago. All right, let's look at the next chart then.
The next chart is Apple. So, yeah, Apple, that we know, they launched their iPhone 12, right? They launched the new iPhone.
Oh no, but this is the same thing, Dennis. Like, this is exactly the same thing what we're seeing here. We're seeing a confluence of two different strategies. We're seeing the buffalo, boing, 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 or as I like to say, 3 slaps in the face. But anyway, that's a different story. And then we've also got down 21%. This would have been a good entry point, Dennis.
Yeah, and we did get in on this at the 20%. So if you watch the last market update, you will see that we looked at that then as well. And now a couple of days later, we can see it was this point here, just the beginning of November, so a week ago. And now we're up. We were up 10%, but now we're up around 7%-ish. So we're waiting for this to go up a little bit more.
Are we trading this one here? Do you have a stop loss, or is this just investing? Because if it's investing, remember we're aiming for at least 15%, so it's not time yet to place a stop loss. However, if you would have placed a stop loss, then, you know, what would you do now? Would you raise your stop loss?
If I would have put a stop loss, I would definitely raise my stop loss to break even, so I couldn't lose any money. So I was treating this as a VCA, but now, which we're going to speak about in the new video, that we have the election and there's so much volatility, I probably put a stop loss in just to protect, so I am at least doing break even in the worst case, which means that I put it at the level where my entry was plus fee, so I can't lose any money.
All right, fantastic. And I think we're going to go into the importance of raising that stop loss. And by the way, when Dennis, or when you're selling short, actually, you know, lowering the stop loss, please don't lower it any other time. Again, you know, we had a virtual workshop the other day where somebody was saying that what they used to do was literally, you know, as it came down, the stock came down, they would move their stop loss down because they didn't want to have that feeling, that emotion of losing, which of course is a big no-no. But if you're selling short, yes, you can move it down. I think we've got an example of that coming up in just a moment. So let's see what's going to happen with Apple over the next week or so. What's next, Dennis?
Next is actually Boeing, like you like to call it, Marcus.
Boeing, yes.
And when we looked at this last week, well, we looked at this a couple of weeks ago when it was up here at the resistance, right? The resistance where it didn't move higher. And from that moment, it actually moved down. So we were up almost 3% on our portfolio on it. We moved the stop loss down. And the result, and what happened here now was a couple of days later, it just shot up. Right, it went up a lot.
And then gapped up. Look at that overnight. Yeah. Remember, gapping up is when the market is closed for us, the retail, but is still open for institutions, so they can do things like buy and sell. In this example here, as you can see, they bought, and they bought heavy, and it boinged all the way up, leaving a gap there for the rest of us. Fortunately, though, we had lowered our stop loss, right, locking in our profit, and it went up and took us out 1, 2, 3, 4 days ago. So we made a little small profit on there. How much did we make there? What percent?
Around 1.5%. Yeah, around 1.5% on our portfolio.
Not bad in a few days.
So remember, if you said what 1.5%, well, it was more than 10-15% down, right? But what we mean is we made 1.5% on the portfolio, because on every single trade we only risk parts of our portfolio. That's a risk management. So even though the stock went down 10%, we only made 1.5% on our portfolio, which is not bad if you think about it, right? And if you do that every month, right, that's how you can make 30-40% a year. You just need to keep going and do these small amounts.
And this is only one trade, of course. Yeah. So we've got several trades on, as you know. We're showing you them. So if you make 1.5% on this one, 3% on another one, maybe you make a 1.5% loss. Sorry, a 1% loss on another one. I don't know why I said 1.5. We only ever risk 1% when we are trading. So we'd only ever risk 1%, but we can make a lot more than that. You know, 1.5, 2, 3, 4, etc. That's great. Okay, so let's see what happens to that. It's out of its range now. So some people will say, oh, it's really high now, let's sell short. But it's not really, well, would you sell short? I wouldn't.
No, not now. Absolutely not. Because there's a couple of reasons. And one is it's already so far down, right? And we're going to speak about why it went up in just a moment as well in the coming update. But no, not now. Now it's very volatile at the moment. So I would wait until I see some solid resistance before I take action.
Okay, very, very good. Okay, so what's next?
Next, we have the US 100 trade, the
your
Nasdaq
famous trade where you made money. It went down. I think you lowered your stop loss at least 3 times. And then I think, Dennis, from memory, you said you were going to get in when it hit that lower line. In other words, when you saw that support level there at the bottom. Did it manage to go down? Did you manage to get in? I hope so.
Yeah. So I think the lesson here is patience, right? The lesson in this example is really patience, because when it goes, you see, every one of these is 1 day. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 days, right? So a lot of people will have taken the
16
profit
trading
very
days.
early.
Yeah, 16 trading days. So,
Yeah,
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So it's 5 trading days a week. So when Dennis says 15 to 16 days, that's actually 3 weeks, right? 5 plus 5 plus 5. Yeah.
So it's really boring to trade if you think about it in a way, right? You make money, which is awesome, that's fun, but you're in here for 3 weeks. You don't do anything except for lowering your stop
But that's
loss.
the
You don't
beauty of
look
it,
at
Dennis.
anything.
When you say it's boring, we're not looking at it. It's 20 minutes a day. The rest of the time, the companies themselves are doing all the creative processes. They're coming up with new products, and they have to market them, and they have to sell them, and they have to, all the operations. They're running the businesses, hundreds of thousands of employees here. All we do is this. Click. So when you say boring, I don't know, but I understand what you're saying. We're getting on with our lives, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I love what you always say, right? Why, buy the stock or sell short and make it, Apple, for example, pay for your new iPhone, your iPad, your MacBook, and do it that way, right? So this is what we're doing. So now I can do that, right? Because this was the Nasdaq, this was the tech company. So now I can go and buy a new iPhone with the profits I made from this, right? Just
But
as
Dennis,
an
did you get
example.
in? I don't think it went down to that blue line, so you didn't manage to
No.
get in on the upside, right?
Exactly. So what happened here was that I went out on the stop loss, which is the blue line. So I made around 2%. But yes, I was patient. I was wanted it to go down to my blue line. It didn't. So I did not get in. So
So then
now it went
remember,
up all
that's
the way.
2% on your entire account, because obviously it felt a lot more than 2%, right? 2%. Well, I don't know. Tell me, is that on your entire account? You tell me.
Yeah, on the entire account. Exactly.
Very good. Not bad in 3 weeks. It's not bad. Okay, now it's gone all the way back up. Are you in again?
No, I'm not. I was very close on doing it yesterday, but it was no, I didn't get in yesterday.
Maybe
So
you
this
should have.
here, the risk reward is from here. Yeah, I know.
Exactly. That's
It
what I
was
thought,
such a
because of the
weird day
risk reward.
yesterday.
Okay, do you have
Yeah.
anything else for us on the update, or?
No, that's the update for this week.
That's it. Fantastic. So some great trades there. By the way, the reason we haven't shown you some of the others, like Boo, for example, nothing has basically happened, so there's no point showing you those. We'll show you as soon as something happens. If we're in a loss, we will show you. When we're making gains, we will show you. That's real trading. So, next. Okay, so, well, I guess we have to talk about it. The big elephant in the room is, of course, the US elections. And since we do so much on the US markets, this one is quite important, Dennis. So here's the thing. We don't know who's actually won yet, because the voting hasn't yet. Well, the voting's done. Some people say too much voting's been done. So Trump is saying that the whole election has been rigged, and Biden is claiming a victory, and the media is also claiming victory for Biden. So now apparently he's the president-elect, but I don't know whether that is official. So when it comes to the market, it has been mayhem, Dennis, right? With some stocks going massively up and some stocks going massively down, for example. What can you tell us?
Yes, what I can tell you is that it's the same, and what Marcus said back in the days when we had the election between Al Gore and Bush. I think Al Gore was president for 30 days, and then Bush became president. But what does all this mean for our traders, for us? It means that there will be a lot of volatility. Volatility means it moves a lot up and down.
Well, that's a good thing, right?
And that is a great thing. So what we're gonna do, we're looking for opportunities now and looking for what we can do. But what we saw yesterday was that all the gold and silver went down the drain. Tech stocks went down the drain, while other companies such as travel companies, airlines, we looked at Boeing, right? It gapped up. They
But
went
there's
up
a reason
so
for that,
much.
Dennis. Isn't there a reason for that? Wasn't there an announcement? So Pfizer, which many of you might know, is the company, the pharmaceutical company, it's a huge company that basically has come up with Viagra. Okay, and if you know that, then why do you know that? Viagra, of course, helps men perform better if they are not able to do that. I didn't know that. I had to look that up. But anyway, let's have a look at Pfizer. if we got that up there, look at that. It absolutely went up almost 20%. You see the candlestick there where it's all red, even though it's gapped up. Again, that's the institutions buying as soon as they hear that news. And then when the market opens, it opened very, very high, hardly ever went up and just went straight down as everybody took their profits immediately. I mean, this is a crazy, crazy thing going on. So when you say, companies like Boeing, they've gone up, and travel companies and all this kind of stuff, it seems to me, isn't that why? Because Pfizer, have just announced that they have got a vaccine, which basically they're saying is 90% efficient.
Yeah, exactly. So they're saying here that they'll have results from their phase 3 late study, and it's so interesting. We haven't really heard anything from Pfizer. We have
No.
heard from Gilead Science, we've heard from loads of companies, but not from Pfizer really. And that's so interesting, I think, that they now came out just after the election, and what a coincidence, and said that, okay, we have this vaccine working. But the question is,
Conspiracy theory. Are you saying this was all to do, it didn't want to be done before
well,
because then people would say, oh, Trump is doing a good job and therefore they would have voted for him? Is that what you're saying?
it could be, but for me, I don't really know, right? I'm not really for conspiracy theories. I'm just gonna act on whatever happens, basically. But I do. I probably wouldn't want to take the vaccine yet, because
Why not? Why would you not want to take it?
well, usually they have years of trials, or months at least, where they really trial it, and we can see real results from it. I remember in Sweden we had this swine flu, right? And a lot of people got so many bad effects from it just because it wasn't trialed enough. So it could just be me. I could be a little bit scared. I really hope it's working, obviously, because we want to have the COVID ending sooner rather than later. But just as you said, Marcus, now if this vaccine is really working, then maybe the lockdown would disappear and then we can start traveling again. So hence the airlines, travel companies, and all these companies went up so much yesterday.
Well, I guess if you take a drug from Pfizer, it might have some very positive side effects, Dennis, which might be a good thing. But anyway, so moving on. So what else would we be able to invest in or sell short? Indeed, is there anything that you see right now that we can invest in?
Yeah, so one thing that we were looking at here was, let's see, we have Intel here, right? So Intel is a major tech company and it's just down at the support level at the moment. So the way I'm going to treat this, because we don't know what's going to happen in the shorter term, we might see all the travel companies just go down again, right?
Yeah.
It depends on what's coming out. If Trump tweets something, we
But
know that it's just going to
Intel
be a
isn't a
lot of
travel
volatility.
company, Dennis. So this one here is obviously Intel. You have these chips, semiconductor chips in every single computer, Intel inside.
Exactly.
But why would you get into this? I mean, I'm looking at the chart of it, and I'm looking. It's down minus 48%, which makes it absolutely right for our BCA strategy. Also, it looks like it's right for the Buffalo strategy. So actually, getting in a day ago would have been really good. But it's come down. So actually, now is a really good time to get in. But fundamentally, Apple announced a few weeks ago that they were going to stop using Intel inside of its computer. So why would you get in?
Absolutely. So I think that is very true that Apple announced that. But for me now, I think that the market's just going to be volatile, and I'm looking to get in and they'll go long on strong companies. So even though Apple announced that they're not working with Intel anymore, it's still a ginormous company. They're making loads of profit. They have an amazing profit margin, and also the return on investment, and it looks like a really solid company. So do I think it could go up 10, 15, 20% in the shorter term? Absolutely.
All
So
right, so
so
you're
and
getting in, is
and
what you're
it's
saying.
showing.
So we got to keep looking at this over the next few weeks.
Yes, exactly. So we'll have a look at that, absolutely. And
All right.
the next one I want to have a look at, obviously, because we don't know. It might go up and down, the market,
Ooh.
so it's going to go down as well. So we do have short positions in place as well. But what I want to show you with this chart here was we looked at this yesterday, but then it gapped up. So I want to show you the
So you were
importance of
looking to
having.
sell short on this one, but now it's come out of its range, right?
Exactly. So this is the importance of a stop order. A lot of people, they just go in, right? They go in, they do a market order, which means they enter wherever the market is now. And what we're doing is we're entering with a stop order, which means we want it to move in our direction first, right? So if it's at this price, we want to get in a little bit below that, so it moves down in our direction, so it increases the probabilities for us to make profit. So now when it gapped up, it just means that we're not going to get in. We're canceling this from our list, but make sure you use a stop order when trading, depending on your strategy.
Okay, well, let's see what happens with this one here, although we're probably not going to get in. Now, what would happen if it came a little bit back down and came back into play? Would you then consider it, Dennis?
I might, but the problem is, because now it's telling me it's been up to the 96 range. So now I would need to put my stop loss a little bit above here, which might make my risk reward ratio, which is what you see here, my risk versus my reward. And I really want to have at least a 3-to-1, which means I make 3 times. For every dollar I risk, I make $3.
Right.
So
if it gives you that risk reward ratio, if it gives you that, you'd get in, but if not, then you wouldn't.
Exactly.
All right, fantastic. Good. Any others to show us before we move on?
No, I think those are the ones I'm going to show now, and then we have some more in store for you.
All right, fantastic. Wonderful. Let's move on to the next section. So let's talk about gold. And when we talk about gold, it's not just gold. We could also be talking about any precious metals. But why do we believe that we should be bullish on gold? We believe there are at least 3 reasons. So let's have that discussion. Dennis, what would be the first reason, do you think?
Yeah, so the first reason I would say is because of the interest rates, right? And now I'm speaking predominantly in the US, but I know the situation is very similar around the world. So currently we're almost at negative or 0 interest rates. So we might even go into the negative territory, which means you would pay the bank to have their money there. And they are going to do this until 2023. So I think what people are going to do, they're going to move their money from their bank accounts into assets. Could be the stock market, could be cryptos, but I do think gold and silver will be one of those areas as well.
So you're saying they'll just benefit from people not wanting to see their money just languish, they're doing nothing in the banks, to investing it somewhere, and therefore gold and silver might also be one of the things that they invest in.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay. All right. Okay, what's the second one?
The second one is all the stimulus packages, right? We're getting government stimulus, and what does that mean, right? So, yes, if you look back, right, let's take a quick look back here, and I saw here now when I did the research, during the crisis in 2008, they kind of injected around $530 billion into the market. And already they've done trillions. I mean, just over a couple of months.
This time round, they've done trillions, right? They've done around 3 trillion. Which is just like incredible compared to, and at the time we were saying, you know, this kind of quantitative easing, this kind of helicopter throwing money out over everybody was a lot, but now it's a lot more. So this is now the weekly chart here of gold, and it has gone up massively, hasn't it? So, to be bullish now, Dennis?
Yeah, I would, in the shorter term, I'm probably a little bit more bearish, especially from the candle from yesterday. So I do think, like in every market, right, it's volatile.
Let's have a look at that candle. Let's have a look at that daily candle then.
So yeah, we're looking here at okay, let's have a look at that. So what we can see here, if we go to the gold chart, you'll be able to see this daily candle here. This was the candle yesterday that just out of the blue fell down 4 or 5% in the matter of a few hours, basically. So I think for me, it looks a bit bearish at the moment, which means that it's very likely to go lower. And we have this, what you call it, kind of a reaction, because it's gone up so much, then we get a little pullback, and then it might go even higher. So we are very bullish in the longer term on gold, but I think if it goes back, if it falls a bit now, I think we're going to get an amazing buying opportunity for gold and silver.
Right, and for the people that already are in, of course, and we'll have a look at some stocks in a moment, this might be a good opportunity for you to get in again, but always at predetermined points. Don't react emotionally. You need to know when to get in beforehand. You might already even have your orders in. Certainly have an alert in to get in again and get that average price down if you believe in something over the long term. Okay, we're going to have a look at some charts in a moment, but are there any other reasons why we are bullish on gold and other precious metals? Because normally we go in, precious metals generally don't really give you any kind of dividend or anything like that. So people are very wary about getting in unless it's a hedge. So it's not so much of an investment, Dennis. It's more of a hedge against other things, generally speaking.
Absolutely. Yeah, I totally agree with you. But besides from interest rates and government stimulus, then we're facing a recession, if you like. We have
Mm.
millions of people without a job. We have the businesses closing down. We're in a second lockdown. And if you look at the stock market, it seems like we're in the best time ever. So I'm just a bit wary
Crazy.
there. So usually gold and silver are doing well during a recession.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, very good. So those are the three reasons why we think that we're bullish, or that we know that we're bullish on it. But what are the kind of things that we're investing in and trading?
So one major one that I'm looking at is if we start with gold, it's Barrick's Gold, and
Right.
this we mentioned this before, and this is the one Warren Buffett bought into as well. Has amazing fundamentals, and you have to think
Mm.
about that. If the billionaires are moving, this is the first time ever Warren Buffett is moving into gold. If he's doing it, maybe we should look at it as well.
I think so. If it's good enough for them, follow the money, and also, follow success. Do what success does. He certainly knows what he's doing. I was surprised to hear that. And I would have thought that he'd gone into gold, but actually thinking about it, going into a company is what Warren Buffett does. He does his research on a company, does his research on the management team, and he doesn't just invest in a ticker or technical analysis. He really does his fundamental research.
Absolutely. So Barrick's Gold is definitely the first one, and what we're looking for here is it for to go down around 15%, because we do not want to buy at the highest point. We want it to go down a bit first to get a good, nice entry.
Nice. Okay, so we're waiting for that to come down. Now, I've already got a position in that, so I'll be looking to, once it goes down to my predetermined points, get in again and just lower that average price if it comes down even more. Okay, very good.
Absolutely. And the next one would be a silver company, because if gold moves, silver usually moves more. So
Right.
yesterday, gold moved down 4-5%, but silver moved down 6-7%. So it does move a bit more, usually a lot more, usually twice as much. So with the AG, with its First Majestic Silver Corp, I'm looking. It's actually currently down 20%. I
Wow.
already have a position in AG. Last time it fell 20%, so I was up quite a bit. But I'm
Oh,
looking
so
at
you got in several
adding to
times, did you?
it. Sorry, I've gotten in 2 times. Yeah, so
Yeah.
20, and then it was down at my next
Nice.
predetermined entry level.
Yeah.
So I am a bit around break even, a little bit in profit soon, but I'm waiting for it to come up to my profit targets before selling.
Right, right, right. But for other people, if they look at the chart and they think it's a good one to get into now, and there's three reasons why we think there is a good time to get in.
Mm.
Just make sure you do your own research, of course, every time. We are not recommending anything here. We're just, making sure that you understand what's going on in the market and what we're doing as well. So please always do your own research. Okay, so there's a couple of companies there that people might want to do some research on. What about gold itself? What about silver itself? Is that something doesn't really move a lot, right, compared to
Mm.
companies?
But what I would say, and one thing to consider is if we now get this volatile world, if you say, well, hold on, Dennis, if they're printing trillions of dollars, what is going to happen to my money in the bank? So what you could do maybe is to just hold gold and silver as a stable asset, if you like. So if pounds or US dollars falls down a lot in value, maybe you want to have some of your money in gold and silver because it's a lot more stable, perhaps. So that
Yeah,
might be one
perhaps.
option.
I mean, looking at this chart, it doesn't look very stable, I have to say. But there you go. And that's where we make our money, through that volatility, but having a predetermined strategy with rules as well. That's fantastic. Thanks for that. Okay, so next. Okay, so what are we going to do in the case of a Biden win? Now, before we ask Dennis, let's be very clear. At the moment, he hasn't won. Now, maybe by the time you watch this, he has won, but at the moment, he hasn't. But in case of a Biden win, and we need to be prepared either way, but let's talk about Biden right now. What do you think we should be doing there?
So I think there's a couple of things that we can do, and I think the message here is like whatever happens, make sure you do your research because we can look at what is Biden, what does he like, right? So one thing that he does is really big for is renewable energy. So renewable energy, electrical cars, you name it, right? But to make the planet a better place, if you like. So he's a little bit against oil, but renewable
I think that's the
energy.
very, very first thing that he said. Well, I'm going to take us back into the Paris agreement, isn't it, about the environment? That's the very, very, or one of the very, very first thing he is going to do. Okay, and also we should maybe talk about the fact that he's anti-fracking, and is that good for oil maybe as well, or is that bad for oil? Okay, so the first one that we're going to look at is...
Yeah, so the first one we can look at is actually Tesla. So a lot of people say, well, hold on a moment, they make a lot of cars. Yeah, they do, right? So they're very big on like electrical cars. They're going to go to the moon on electrical spaceships, and it is really a tech company. Now, would I invest at these prices? Absolutely not. I would wait for it to come down a bit, but it's one to have on your radar and be patient, I think.
Right, yeah, absolutely. There's huge volatility here. So I always think that Tesla is not for the faint-hearted. All right, what do we have next?
Yeah, so next we have another one, and I think we can look at First Solar. So this is definitely with renewable energy. It's one of the biggest solar companies. They produce solar panels, for example. It's one of the biggest ones in the world. So I think
And the
that could be an
fundamentals,
interesting
Dennis,
one.
are they good enough for us to get in?
Fundamentals are good enough to get in. They're making profits as a solid company. Don't have that much debt, for example, etc. So they fill our criteria, absolutely.
Yeah. The only thing is, though, I'm looking at this chart, and boy, it is so high. I mean, that has to fall quite a few percentage points for us to be able to get in, at least 15%, right?
Yeah, but I'm patient, right? I'm not going to get in tomorrow because he's not going to make these changes now. It's going to take him maybe a year, maybe. So we have time to get in. And like we know, it moves up and down. We just need to be patient.
I know that people want to get in right now, right? So they say, right, what are we getting in right now? But this is one to put onto your list and to look at, do your research on, and then when it falls, time to get in. Would you be investing in this one, or would you be trading it, Dennis?
I might do both actually. So I might actually trade it if it goes down there, but if it falls even further, I might be investing as well, right? So I might do both.
Very good, very good. Okay, what else do you have for us?
So what else do we do? One other thing is really big on is actually healthcare. So he's gonna, I think he said was a Biden care, right? So he's gonna hopefully improve the healthcare system in the U.S. So then I'm looking at some of the healthcare companies. This is one of the so this is a United Health Group Incorporated. The ticker for it is Unicorn, Nando, and Hotel.
Very
So
good. But listen,
thank
is
you.
this why you think some of these have all gone up? Because of the supposed victory of Biden? I mean, the media have declared him the next president-elect. So I'm assuming that that's why they've all gone up over the last few days. Is that why?
I think so. I think that's absolutely a part of it. I do think so, but I don't think it's the whole truth. But yes, I think so. I think because it's big on infrastructure and the vaccine, a lot of these companies are on hopes, right, going up in a sense, and because they've been pushed down so far. But I do think we're gonna see, like always, a reaction to the downside as well. When everybody's
Oh,
piling in, right, they're buying because they think it's gonna go up, 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 up.
yeah. And
But
most
then that's
most
when
people
you
would do.
start it.
That's exactly what they're doing. They're piling in. If you have a look at the amount of buying that's happening and also selling, but so high, it's not something that I would do. But obviously, the general public, they see something go up and then they pounce. And now's not a good time to be getting in. So, do we have anything else in terms of Biden winning?
Yeah, the last one we can look at is BEP, so Bravo
Yes.
Echo Patriots, and that is Brookfield Renewable Partners. It's also one of the biggest energy companies, but they don't only do solar power. So if you want to diversify a bit more, they do, for example, wind as well. So they have wind panels, and they have hydroelectric and other green energy properties, if you like. So they are very big. They have a very diversified business when it comes to renewable energy. So this would be another one to look at.
Well, again, for me, it has to come down massively before I'd even consider getting in. I mean, that is way too high right now, but something to get organized with, put away, keep looking at, not on a daily basis necessarily, but on a weekly basis, you might do so. What I always say, you need to be organized when you're trading and investing, and that's really half the battle won. So, for example, you can have a list of stocks that you're looking at a daily basis. You can have a list of stocks weekly basis and maybe even monthly basis. I mean, if something is so high right now, why would you be looking at the same stock every day? Put it into your weekly one. If you really think it's going to take a long time for it to come down, put it into your monthly one, and on the first day of the month, look at those. When you then think it's coming close, put it onto the weekly. If it's very close, put it onto the daily. Wonderful. So let's wait for those to come down, and then we'll look at them nearer the time. Thank you so much for watching, and we would love to know what are your thoughts on everything that we discussed so far. Are you bullish on gold right now or bearish since it's just recently come down? Please do comment below. Also, do you think that Biden has one? And if he has, are we spot on with what we think is going to go up in the future? And let's get that debate going. Please do. There's no right or wrong. Just let us know what it is that you're thinking right now. Also, if you did like this video, we'd be very grateful for you just to hit that like button. Thank you so much in advance. And more importantly, of course, make sure you subscribe. That's right, hit that subscribe button now so that you don't miss out on these videos, which we're doing every single week, making sure that you never miss out on the latest, best stocks to get into.